Have you ever wondered what it feels like to witness history being written at 35,000 feet? Not in the pages of a book, but in the roar of engines, the flex of wings, and the quiet hum of a cabin carrying hundreds of people across oceans. The skies are not just a place for travel, they're a battlefield for innovation. And in 2026, two giants are meeting in that battlefield like never before. The Boeing 777X and the Airbus A350. This isn't just another plane versus plane comparison, it's a rivalry years in the making, born from boardroom debates, engineering breakthroughs, and billions of dollars in research. For airplane lovers, it's the kind of moment you don't just watch, you feel. Every curve of the fuselage, every note of the engine's sound, every decision behind the design tells a story about what aviation could become. Before we dive in deep, here's a small promise. Stay with this video until the very end, and you'll walk away knowing exactly why the next few years could redefine long-haul travel forever, and which aircraft might be the one carrying you on your next dream journey. The stage for this rivalry was set decades ago. Boeing, the American titan, has long been known for its dominance in wide-body aircraft. The original 777 was called the 777 by pilots and passengers alike, and it earned a reputation for reliability, range, and the kind of comfort that made 14-hour flights almost feel possible without dread. Airbus, the European challenger, had its own legend. The A330, a versatile workhorse, and then the groundbreaking A350, which many called a quiet revolution in the sky. But here's where human psychology plays a part. People rarely get attached to just numbers or technical charts. We connect with ideas, with visions of the future. For Boeing, that vision meant building the biggest and boldest twin-engine jet the world had ever seen. For Airbus, it meant crafting a machine so efficient, so tuned to operational reality, that it could rewrite airline economics. The Boeing 777X was born from the success of the original 777, but with one major twist. It had to be not just better, but unmatched. Boeing's engineers knew that airline executives, pilots, and yes, even passengers have an emotional reaction to size and power. The sight of those massive G9 times engines, the largest turbofans ever built, isn't just a technical choice, it's a statement. Those folding wingtips? They're not just for fitting into airport gates. They're a symbol of pushing the boundaries while still working within the constraints of the real world. It's like saying, we will give you the biggest wings possible, but we'll make them bend to your will. On the other side, Airbus took a different approach. The A350 wasn't designed to shock you with size, it was designed to quietly impress you with intelligence. It uses over 50% carbon fiber reinforced polymer in its structure, making it lighter, more fuel efficient, and more resistant to corrosion. The engines, Rolls-Royce Trent XWBs, aren't the largest, but they're among the most efficient ever built. Airbus knows that airlines are constantly calculating cost per seat mile, and passengers are increasingly aware of environmental impact. The A350 plays into that psychology. You can travel far, in comfort, and with less harm to the planet. In the years leading to 2026, both aircraft have taken to the skies, gathering performance data, airline feedback, and passenger reviews. But this year, the real contest begins. Major airlines will finalize orders, retire older fleets, and place their bets on the aircraft that can deliver the best balance of efficiency, comfort, and prestige. Think of it as Formula One, but at 900 kilometers per hour, and with passengers sipping coffee in pressurized cabins instead of drivers wearing helmets. Now, here's something to think about. In aviation, loyalty runs deep. Pilots often speak with pride about the aircraft they fly, and passengers develop preferences without even realizing it. Some people love the gentle takeoff of an Airbus, others swear by the confident climb of a Boeing. Airlines themselves aren't immune to these feelings. A Boeing heavy fleet or an Airbus heavy fleet often tells you something about how that airline sees itself in the market. The Boeing 777X and Airbus A350 are not just competing for contracts, they're competing for hearts and minds. As we step into the details of this rivalry, remember this: each of these aircraft is a mirror reflecting the values of the company that built it. Boeing's boldness, Airbus's precision; Boeing's muscle, Airbus's finesse. The fight isn't just in specifications, it's in how those specifications make people feel, from the CEO who signs the purchase agreement to the passenger who sits down in seat 42A. By the end of this video, you'll not only understand the numbers, the range, the fuel burn, the seat width, but you'll also see how human psychology, airline economics, and pure engineering ambition come together in the 2026 showdown. And maybe, just maybe, you'll discover which side of the rivalry you've been on all along, without even realizing it. So fasten your seatbelt, because what you're about to hear isn't just a comparison. It's the story of how two machines separated by oceans and design philosophies are about to redefine the future of flight. When two aircraft are born to compete at the very top of the aviation market, every single design choice becomes a declaration of intent. The Boeing 777X and the Airbus A350 are both masterpieces, but they speak two very different engineering languages. Understanding those differences is like reading the DNA of each company. Every decision tells you what they believe about the future of flight. The Boeing 777X begins with presence. At first glance, it commands the runway with a wingspan so vast it would outgrow many gates, 71.8 meters from tip to tip. But here's where Boeing's boldness shows. Those folding wingtips. They aren't a gimmick. They allow the aircraft to shrink its span to fit existing taxiways and gates, while still taking advantage of a longer, more aerodynamically efficient wing in the air. In psychology, we know that adaptability without losing identity creates trust. Boeing knew airlines needed a big wing for range, but also needed the flexibility to operate at current airports. That folding mechanism is both a technical and a symbolic answer. Under those wings are the G9X engines, the largest turbofans in the world, each with a fan diameter wider than the fuselage of some regional jets. They produce a deep, rolling sound that many aviation fans call the heartbeat of the 777X. Beyond the emotion, their size has a purpose: higher bypass ratio, greater thrust, and better efficiency for long, heavy flights. Boeing leans into the idea that power and performance are persuasive, that an aircraft should not just move through the air, but own it. Airbus, by contrast, approaches the A350 with quiet precision. Its wings, inspired by the shape of bird wings in flight, are built entirely from carbon fiber composites. They don't fold because they don't need to. The A350's span of 64.75 meters fits into standard gates while still delivering exceptional lift-to-drag efficiency. The curves of the wingtips aren't just elegant. They reduce vortex drag and improve fuel economy. For Airbus, efficiency is the loudest voice. And the A350's design tells airlines, "We will save you money every hour this plane is in the air." Where Boeing uses selective composites but still relies heavily on aluminum alloys for its fuselage, Airbus takes the opposite route. The A350 is more than 50% composites by weight, with the rest a mix of aluminum, lithium alloys, and titanium. This reduces weight, increases resistance to corrosion, and allows for higher cabin pressure, meaning passengers experience less fatigue on long-haul flights. That's not just engineering. That's human psychology embedded in design. When passengers arrive fresher, they associate the airline with comfort and care. Cabin layout is another philosophical divide. The 777X, with its wider fuselage, can easily accommodate 10 seats across an economy while still offering decent seat width. Boeing knows that airlines value high passenger capacity, and passengers value not feeling cramped. It's a balance. The A350, slightly narrower, typically seats 9 across an economy, but uses clever cabin shaping to maximize shoulder room and space perception. This plays into a psychological truth. Comfort is not only about inches, but about how space feels. Even the cockpit philosophies differ. Boeing's flight deck carries forward the layout familiarity of previous models, easing the transition for pilots moving from the 777 or even the 787. This is an important operational psychology move. Airlines save time and money when pilot training is streamlined. Airbus, on the other hand, gives the A350 the clean glass panel cockpit philosophy it's known for, with side-stick controls instead of yokes. It reinforces Airbus's brand identity: modern, simplified, and intuitive. Pilots switching from the A330 or a 380 find themselves at home almost instantly. Aerodynamic choices also reveal the contrast. Boeing's massive wing is optimized for high-speed cruise at heavier weights, making it a champion for ultra-long-haul routes like Dubai to Los Angeles or Sydney to London. Airbus designs the A350 for a sweet spot of efficiency across both long and medium-haul missions, allowing airlines to use it flexibly on routes from transatlantic hops to 17-hour marathon flights. The message is subtle but powerful. Boeing says we'll take you farther, faster, while Airbus says we'll take you anywhere, at the lowest cost. In noise and vibration control, both companies pour in technology, but with different emphases. Boeing builds on the 787 feet's composite and insulation techniques, aiming for a quieter cabin even with the massive G9X power plants. Airbus uses advanced engine mounting and vibration dampening in the A350, creating a cabin environment where conversations and announcements are clearer and passengers subconsciously feel more at ease. This matters because quietness isn't just a comfort factor, it's linked to how people perceive safety and quality. Material science is another arena of rivalry. The 777 Times uses a new generation of aluminum-lithium alloys for parts of its fuselage, chosen for their durability and easier repair processes. Boeing's bet here is that in the long run, maintenance cost predictability will win loyalty. Airbus, with its composite-heavy A350, banks on lower fuel burn and reduced corrosion checks to tilt the economics in its favor. Both are making a psychological pitch to airlines: we will keep your aircraft flying more and sitting in hangars less. Then there's the invisible engineering. Systems architecture, electrical load management, environmental control. Boeing integrates much of the advanced electrical design from the 787 into the 777 Times, reducing pneumatic bleed and increasing overall efficiency. Airbus counters with its own optimized environmental control systems that maintain cabin humidity at higher levels, reducing passenger dehydration. It's not something most passengers can name, but it's something they feel. In the end, the design and engineering choices of the Boeing 777 Times and Airbus A350 are more than technical paths. They're identities. Boeing's is about grandeur, power, and pushing limits while staying familiar enough for operators to trust. Airbus's is about refinement, efficiency, and showing that intelligence can outperform raw muscle. Both appeal to deep-seated human responses, the thrill of scale, and the admiration of elegance. For the airplane enthusiast, these differences are not just interesting facts. They're the soul of the rivalry. They explain why one person might stand at the end of a runway waiting to see those folding wingtips in action, while another might quietly admire the A350's graceful flex at takeoff. Two aircraft, two visions, one sky, and the competition between them is only getting sharper. Numbers alone can tell you how far an aircraft can fly or how much fuel it burns. But true performance is more than statistics. It's about how all those numbers interact to create reliability, profitability, and a flying experience people remember long after they land. The Boeing 777 Times and Airbus A350 are both leaders in their class, yet they reach their performance goals in very different ways. Let's start with range. The 777 Times, specifically the 777-9 variant, is built for extreme distances, up to around 13,500 kilometers in standard conditions. The smaller 777-8, still under development, is expected to stretch beyond 16,000 kilometers, making it a prime candidate for ultra-long-haul routes like Sydney to London, non-stop. This is Boeing appealing directly to ambition. Airlines that dream of connecting distant cities without stopovers see the 777 Times as a tool to expand their map in ways that were once only possible with four-engine giants. The Airbus A350, depending on the variant, offers a slightly different range profile. The A350-900 carries up to 15,000 kilometers, while the ultra-long range A350-900 pushes past 18,000 kilometers, holding the current record for the world's longest scheduled flight, Singapore to New York. Airbus positions this as proof of versatility, an aircraft that can handle everything from a short transatlantic to a near 19-hour journey with the same quiet efficiency. In psychology, this is the flexibility effect, giving operators more ways to use the same aircraft, lowering operational risk. Fuel efficiency is where the rivalry becomes razor-sharp. Boeing's massive G9 Times engines, despite their size, are engineered to deliver around 10% better fuel burn compared to the previous 777 generation. But Airbus's A350, with its lighter composite structure and ultra-efficient Rolls-Royce Trent XWB engines, often edges ahead in liters burned per seat over medium and long-haul flights. The truth is, both are efficient, but they optimize for different conditions. Boeing for heavier payloads and longer sectors, Airbus for balanced performance across route types. Airlines notice this, and so do passengers, even if indirectly, because lower fuel costs often translate into competitive ticket pricing or enhanced onboard services. Cruising speed is another interesting divide. The 777 Times cruises at Mach 0, 84, matching most modern widebodies, but can push to Mach 0, 89 when needed. The A350 sits at Mach 0, 85 for cruise, with similar top speed capability. While a few minutes difference on a long flight might seem trivial, airlines value the ability to make up time on delayed departures, and frequent travelers subconsciously value punctuality. A machine that helps keep schedules tight builds trust. Passenger comfort is where human psychology plays a starring role. The Boeing 777X's cabin is pressurized to a lower altitude than older aircraft, thanks to improved materials and environmental systems, but still slightly higher than the A350's. Airbus pressurizes the A350 to the equivalent of 6,000 feet, rather than the traditional 8,000, reducing passenger fatigue and headaches. Combined with higher cabin humidity, around 20% compared to older models 5 to 10%, this makes a noticeable difference on long-haul flights. People may not be able to explain why they feel better stepping off an A350, but they remember the feeling. Seat width and space also matter. The 777's wider fuselage allows airlines to install 10 abreast seating in economy with around 5 to 18 inches of width per seat, depending on configuration. The A350's 9 abreast standard gives around 18 to 5 inches. While the numbers are close, the perception of comfort can be influenced by cabin shaping, lighting, and even armrest design. Airbus has invested heavily in cabin sidewall contouring to create a sense of openness, while Boeing uses larger windows and strategic lighting systems to make its cabins feel airy. Noise reduction is another subtle but powerful factor. Boeing's Genine Times engines are designed with composite fan blades and improved nacelle shapes to cut noise both inside and outside the cabin. Airbus's Trent XWB engines, combined with extensive vibration isolation in the A350's design, produce what many passengers describe as a soft hum rather than a roar. Lower noise levels aren't just about comfort. Studies show they help reduce stress and make passengers feel safer, even if they don't consciously notice it. From the airline's perspective, economics is where decisions are truly made. The 777 offers more seats, especially in high-density configurations, which can lower the cost per seat mile when flights are full. This makes it attractive for carriers serving high-demand routes between major hubs. However, it also means airlines take on more risk if demand drops. The A350's slightly smaller capacity can give it an advantage in maintaining profitability on thinner routes or during fluctuating market conditions. Maintenance strategies differ too. Boeing's blend of advanced aluminum alloys with composites in certain sections allows for traditional repair methods in many cases, reducing downtime in airports without specialized composite facilities. Airbus's heavier reliance on composites means less corrosion-related maintenance but may require more specialized expertise for structural repairs. Airlines weigh these factors carefully because every hour an aircraft spends in maintenance is an hour it's not earning revenue. Operational flexibility extends beyond routes and maintenance. The A350's lower maximum takeoff weight compared to the 777 can be a benefit for airports with shorter runways or stricter noise and emissions limits. The 777's higher MTOW gives it greater payload capacity, more passengers, more cargo, more fuel, making it the clear choice for ultra-long-haul or high-freight demand routes. This is the fit-for-mission mindset that drives much of the decision-making at the fleet planning level. Then there's the branding effect. Passengers may not always know the difference between a 777 and an A350 when booking, but frequent flyers do, and they talk about it. Airlines know that being the first to operate a new flagship aircraft creates excitement, loyalty, and even free marketing. The 777's imposing size and futuristic folding wings create visual drama that can dominate social media. The A350's graceful lines and reputation for comfort build a quieter but equally strong emotional connection. Performance, passenger experience, and economics are not isolated categories. They feed into each other, shaping how airlines choose and how passengers feel. A plane that flies farther can open new markets, which brings in more revenue, which funds better onboard service, which builds passenger loyalty. A plane that uses less fuel can keep ticket prices competitive, attracting more customers, filling more seats, and maximizing profit. In the Boeing 777 and Airbus A350, we see two answers to the same question. How do you create the perfect long-haul aircraft for the next generation of travel? One chooses scale and muscle, the other chooses efficiency and finesse. Both succeed in ways that make them irresistible to airlines and unforgettable to passengers. And in 2026, as orders are placed and new routes are announced, these differences will define who leads the skies and who follows.